Welcome everybody to episode 4 of The Soundstage with Kyle, presented by NLFX. We're here with the one and only Tori. Do you like Tori, Victoria? Which would you rather go by?
Don't say Victoria. That's the government name.
Okay,
that's
got
the
it.
Government name.
Tori. So we'll just get started right in it. Tori, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, who you work, what you do, all that kind of stuff.
So I am from Houston, Texas. I'm a transplant up to Ithaca, New York. I went there for college and actually studied sound production first. Like on-set sound. I wanted to be an on-set sound engineer. Actually, I wanted to be an anchor, a news anchor first.
Okay.
And then,
I also made that mistake. I initially went for TV and radio broadcasting.
Yeah, TVR. Yeah. They don't even have that anymore. It's like TV, media, something.
Yeah. Electronic media communications is the last thing I saw.
Yeah, like
whatever that means.
Because radio's dead. That's why.
I have a face for radio.
Same in the radio industry, so I feel that.
Exactly.
Then I went up there for college, and then life happened. I didn't have a baby or anything, but just like life happened.
Yeah, for sure.
And I kind of got stuck there. I was basically abandoned up there, and then stayed up there, kind of made my own way. Fell in love with seasons. Being from Houston, you don't have seasons, so
I think you have hot and not quite as hot, right?
Yes, it's hot, less hot, cold. Maybe a freeze. Hurricanes.
So, I mean, there are seasons.
Yeah, there's seasons. Variations of hot.
Variations of the exact
scary.
same one, but yeah.
And PTSD weather.
For sure.
I'll take a snowstorm over like a Cat 5 hurricane.
Oh,
any
yeah.
day.
100%.
Any day.
100%.
Keep me buried in my house, that's fine.
Yep, for sure. Because then my house is still there.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
No, totally get it. So was the choice like to go to Ithaca, was that just, hey, I want to get away just to do something different, explore different parts of the country, or just that's just was your calling to go to that area, or?
It's a great question. I wanted to get away.
Okay.
I grew up very troubled, and I don't want to say I was very troubled. I grew up in a very tumultuous environment.
Okay.
As a lot of us did. And I needed to get away. I was like, the further I can get away, the further I'll get away from my problems, not realizing that the problems just go with you.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
I didn't have a big enough closet, you know?
Oh, for
Plus,
sure.
I was still in the closet, so there's also that.
Of course.
So, yeah, I fell in love with the fact that the colors were the same. I fell in love with the fact that...
It's okay.
Thanks, Joe.
Hello.
Walking right through our camp. Wow.
It's okay.
Wow. Joe Bunn, everyone.
There he is.
Joe Bunn. Ben Stowe would never do that.
Hey, what can I say?
Anyway, Meg. Anyway, Kyle.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just fell in love. It was easier to transition. The colors were the same. I walked onto the basketball team and actually ended up living crew rowing.
Wow.
And did ROTC as well. Yeah, I felt like the more that I did, the less I didn't have to feel.
Yeah, for sure.
Was definitely
Yeah.
bubbling up inside of me.
But it gave you a way to at least ignore it for a little bit.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
It wasn't until 2014 that I had like a crazy mental breakdown.
Okay.
Recognizing that a lot of the stuff that I went through was like actually kind of abuse, and like it was terrible. And I would talk to someone for the first time ever in my whole life,
Yeah.
and it was just so eye-opening. So being able to do that in a place, at a college that supports those kinds of supports that kind of self-discovery,
Yeah.
I think it made a huge difference.
Well, that's good. And you unfortunately hear a lot of people like they go to college and they still don't quite figure out who they are.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing, like when you're going off and going to college and stuff, it's figuring out, hey, who am I? Where do I fit in the world and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So I'm glad that you're able to do that. So you go up there, you go to college, you were going for TV and radio. How did you get involved in what I can only assume is, for you, same thing, the absolutely crazy world of DJing? How did you get into that?
So Chris Washburn was known as DJ Washburn. Before he became Daddy Washburn, he was DJ Washburn for our local bar, our local college bar, and he managed the bar. And that's actually like the birthplace of DJ Washburn is in Mooney's in Ithaca.
Okay.
And he, it wasn't even at that time. Chris and I didn't really connect until about 2018.
Okay.
So I knew of him in 2014
Yeah.
and before.
You'd heard the name, you'd seen him around,
Yeah, of
all that
course.
kind
And
of
it's like he's the Mooney's DJ. He was the club DJ guy.
Yeah.
He It wasn't until 2018 when I was working we have a mutual friend named Alina Kem who owns a karaoke bar in Ithaca called K House.
Okay.
I was bartending there, and I was a musician too. I was a musician before I was a DJ, so it was a very easy transition for sure. But he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. Always been the person I was making mixtapes and then radio, when you could press record and have your own radio
record,
show.
sidetrack, of course.
Yes. Assuming the jock didn't talk too far and hit the post too well. You needed a little bit of buffer. You don't hit the post too well, then it's like that whole thing was introduction.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to cuss.
It's okay.
Okay, right. So
we're all adults here.
so I was always the person who made the mixtapes, doing my own radio shows. Thanks, Joe.
We're good.
Person to make the mixtapes.
Yeah.
Then it was mix CDs. Then it was playlists.
Of course.
And then having the aux cord and kind of.
Yeah.
And then reading the room. I never realized how much I actually read the room when I had the aux cord at parties. It wasn't I'm gonna play what I want to play because I'm cool. It was more what does this party need right now?
Yeah. What are we feeling?
Yeah. What do we need?
Yeah. And I think for a lot of really good DJs, that's just kind of. I know there's a lot you can do to learn how to read a room better, but I think to be a really good DJ, you kind of have to have that innate,
yes.
You have to be able to read people. And maybe that's what makes Chris such a good poker player.
Yes.
Because he can read people, and then we can read the room, we can get that vibe going, all that kind of stuff. So I'm also a poker player, not on Chris's level. I'm not trying to call you out or anything. But I've won a couple poker tournaments and stuff too, and so I've always found that for myself. It's really easy to read. Hey, you know what? I think this is what we need to do. It sounds really weird, but I think this is just what we got to do this next time. So
agreed.
Yeah.
His comes from a sense of he's a very strong leader and a strong individual, and then his love of baseball.
Okay.
I think that he was a pitcher, I want to say, and having to read people, read batters.
Yeah.
If your catcher didn't call pitches, I was a catcher in softball for almost 10 years. So and then when it came time to call, I just take this how you will, but number one, I didn't like balls in my face. Number two, I didn't like 60-mile-an-hour balls thrown in my face. So
for sure. No, I get it. Yeah.
I'm sure you don't like balls thrown in your face either.
No, I wasn't a catcher. I was a first baseman, so I mean it kind of, I guess.
Oh, you're lefty too?
No. Well, so I am left-handed. I actually did switch hit, but I caught right through. I caught left through right. So
I was opposite. I batted right-handed. Could kind of drag bunt a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, threw left-handed.
Okay.
Anyway, so.
Yeah, with Chris and his.
Chris, so I was always the person kind of reading the room, going there. It also comes from a place of growing up the way I grew up. When you grow up with a parent who struggles with substance use of any kind, you have to really read them to know how to react.
Sure.
So I think that all of those experiences that I had having to sort of survive around me emotionally really helped to pave the way of being able to read the emotions of the room and then to be able to help elevate and figure out what's this room feeling right now? Okay, I'm sensing this. Maybe we need this to help us go to a different direction.
Yeah, sure. It's going too far one way, too far the other.
Yes, exactly. Sure. It's you know what? It's not stale yet, but it feels stale.
Yeah.
And that's actually one thing that what a couple of my couples have said to me is it was almost as soon as we were ready for the next genre, you
phase.
knew.
Yeah,
you knew. Yeah. It's you knew ahead of time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think that's again reading the room. It's always a really good thing like that. So, you've been working with Washburn since 2018. You said.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So how's all that been? How have you grown through it while you're doing it, all that kind of stuff? I mean, I know that Chris has really blown up the last few years, and I think what would really help him is if he came out of his shell a little bit.
Yeah, he's very muted.
Yeah, he's a little muted.
Fashion-wise too.
Yeah, his clothes are a little, spice it up a little bit.
I just wish, and I hope, Meg, that you put pictures of Chris here.
Flash him
I
up
really
here.
hope that you do that to show the sarcasm that
Yeah,
we're talking about.
absolutely.
Yeah, it would really help him, for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. So the other thing that I like to talk about is kind of asking people, so you've been doing this since 2018, so you've been doing it 6 or 7 years. Do you have that one moment in a wedding that just really sticks out in your memory as an awesome, core moment? Hey, this is the reason I do this. This is the reason I love it, all that kind of stuff. Do you have one of those, or is there just too many to think about that one?
Oh, man. There are a couple, and two come to mind. And one kind of happens like script-wise kind of at every wedding, but it's never the same.
Yeah.
Never the same timing, never the same anything. One moment was there was a wedding that I did for a couple who she's from Staten Island, and her dad passed away when she was younger. And I was doing video work, and she had video of her Sweet 16, which like on Staten Island is like a wedding.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I was able to also play introductions of some of her wedding party from when they were 16, so it was very fun to do that too.
Yeah.
But on a more impactful, more, I would say heavy, what we did, and we didn't tell anybody we were doing this. We didn't tell her mom, we didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
We took that video, and she danced with her dad to Butterfly Kisses, and we took that video, and I didn't like loop it, but I creatively looped it. And so she got to dance with her father on her wedding day with her family.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I think it was such a beautiful thing to have held space for, and to be able to help. Everyone's always like, oh, positive weddings, like keep it positive. You don't want to bring, but in reality,
but sometimes embracing embracing the suck brings it even more joy.
Yes, and also brings the community together.
Oh, 100%.
Like they're like her immediate family, they were just together, they were crying, they felt like their dad was there.
Yeah.
They felt like their dad was there.
Yeah.
And it was just such a beautiful thing to have. Another moment it's kind of on the other end, like the excitement, joy part.
Super excited about it, yeah.
So when I play Blink-182, all the small things, and I don't play that at every wedding, but when I do for the right crowd, there's kind of the part that builds to the end. So during that part, I'm a part-time fitness coach. My coach comes out and I'm like, all right, everybody, we've only got a couple more songs. Like, let's give everything we've got. For the last choruses, you're not walking out of here with the boys. You're not going to walk out of here feeling your legs. Let's do it for a couple. And I'll say their names and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then everyone counts together like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And we're just like all jumping up and down.
Yeah.
It is so much fun.
Yeah.
So that pure
enjoyment factor of one.
Yeah. And I'm getting out, I'm jumping out there with them. Like, oh man, it is just, it's so
for sure. Yeah, I think it's a really good idea to get really involved and get them hyped and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's really, really great thing. So then kind of tying back into that, so you've been doing it for 6 years. And then while you're walking over here getting ready to shoot this, you're talking about, oh man, I really got to get prepared for this wedding I have tomorrow, all that kind of stuff. But the other thing that I heard in that is like your passion for still doing it. So what is it that week in and week out, it brings you back? You want to keep doing it. You want to keep doing really well for your couples. Your even production stuff, video stuff, like what is it that keeps that fire going?
Sorry about all my smack.
Yeah.
That's a tough question.
Sure.
When I book with my couples, we have very intimate conversations. My ultimate goal in life is actually to become a relationship therapist. Like I want to become like a family counselor. So I think when I'm approaching the wedding with my couples, it almost feels like I'm part of the day, number one, because we have such an intimate relationship.
Yeah.
And number two, being able to help people have a beautiful, like a positive, such a powerful day to look back on when they're mad at each other. When they see those photos, they don't think like, oh, but our DJ, when they go to other weddings, they don't think, oh, our DJ was crap. Some people are like, they like to hear that. I hate hearing that when people are like, I wish you were my DJ. It's like, now you have that memory of like your DJ being bad. So I want to provide for them the space to cultivate those memories. Yeah. Because we're just there to facilitate. We don't actually, we do stuff, but we don't, like, we're not in charge of how they take it. We're not in charge of how they react to it. Right. So being able to help them go back to that when they're upset with each other and they see the photos on the wall and they see the photos and think about how much fun they had and how close they felt. Yeah. And how much they were in love with each other. Yeah. That is really one of the things that motivates me. For sure. Yeah, and one thing I like to talk about with my couples, and I'm the same way, like you're the part of somebody's, hopefully, one of the best days of their life, if not the best. And it's a tough job. Like, and yes, we're picking out music, we're hitting play. Like, in essence, it's not a hard job, but at the same time,
what I like to tell my couples is that like I can be there and I can play all the right songs, but if you guys aren't engaged with it too,
Yes.
your
100%.
your people aren't going to be engaged.
Yes.
Because I had one where, you know, the week before, the bride and groom, they never left the dance floor. They were jumping around. They were trying to get everybody out there. I felt like I could have played Sinatra, New York all night, and they would have just raged the entire time. You know, you could have just played that one, like just one of those you just dream about doing. And then that next week, it was the couple who they sat at the bar and did the whole thing. So then you just end up feeling like that jukebox and the whole thing. It's just like, man, if you just come out, because you see everybody at the bar like tapping their thing and they're getting up and they're singing the songs a little bit. They're into the music, but because the bride and groom aren't there, they're just like, oh, well, that's where they want us to be out here just drinking with them and just doing that kind of thing. And so
I talked about this actually in the panel that I did at DJX, and somebody asked the question like, how do you handle when your dance floors are they're not packed, right?
Yeah.
And the first step is to set expectations correctly for your couples. The second step is for you to also set expectations for yourself and recognize that your worth and the memories that you help make for the couples are more than how packed the dance floor is.
Right.
So I think it's important to recognize that our worth and what we do is far greater than what we can produce.
Yeah.
And that includes a packed dance floor. So
100%. I had this year, I don't always get tips and I don't ever expect tips, anything like that. Anything that people give, that's awesome. But one of the biggest tips I got this year was one of my least, but they're just like, oh my gosh, you were so, like, kept the day going, and they were happy with the service and everything that happened. They still gave me a really nice tip, which was fantastic, but it wasn't the massive raging party. It was very, let's dance a little bit, let's sit a little bit, let's dance a little bit. But that's kind of what they wanted. They said like, hey, we just kind of want to lay back. We want people to dance if they want to, but we don't want we don't want EDM all day. We don't want the thing. We don't want strobe lights. We don't want just
like have fun. Because when we're having fun, it cultivates the fun too. Yeah. We're not the stars of the party.
Oh, absolutely not.
We definitely do help to create the energy on the dance floor. And I think it's a conversation. It's like, whatever, I can feel the energy drop in the room if I'm not paying attention. If I'm not present, they're not present.
Right. Oh,
Which is frustrating sometimes.
Active listening.
Yes. And it's frustrating sometimes because I'm fucking tired.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
when it's your third one, it's your third wedding in 3 days, and you've had terrible load-ins.
And then you get on the third day is the wedding where the people aren't that's not their type of fun is rage dancing, and I'm just like, no.
I have to work so much harder right now.
Yes.
So
I still love it, but I'm still just like, oof, can you guys please just help me?
Yeah, help me out a little bit.
Please,
just a little. That's all I need is a little bit of help.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Thanks for getting to know us and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to dive into the nerdy stuff that all the DJs like, all that kind of stuff. So the kind of stuff that we deal with. So we're going to deal into your equipment. I know it's a very personal question, and I'm sorry, but like, what kind of speakers do you use? What kind of mixer do you use? Do you use an external? Do you use just a controller? All that kind of stuff. Audio-wise, what do you rocking? I thought
you were about to ask me about my equipment. I'm like, well, I mean,
well, because some people like.
I don't even want to tell you what's in my bedroom drawer, buddy. Come on now.
Exactly.
That's a personal question.
It is.
What's in my car is not a personal question.
Yeah, no. But that's so many people. I'm an RCF guy. I'm a QSC guy. I'm an EV guy. Okay. You know, you got the diehards, and so really so you just got to make sure that I don't want to step on your toes, but what kind of equipment are you rocking at the weddings?
So I started with the bun booth, but the way that I got like the first gen bun booth, and I did like it, but the way that it was designed, even when I was thinking about getting another one, this was before bun booth had their resurgence. Joe was like, "Oh my God, you got that's not good at all." Yeah. But by then it was just so heavy with like the Rev 7 in it, and it was too much. So I use a Pro X Command Center. Okay. Command Tower. Yeah. The black one. Yep. My sub's all black. I like black. And then I use the RCF J8s with a mixer. That's the caveat. You have to use it with the mixer to get the best out of it. I also use 2 Everse 8s as like my
ceremony backfill, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're good. It's all good. We got it. Cat's got it.
Cool.
That's great.
Our bouncer cat over there.
Yeah,
nice.
She's doing well.
So I use Everse 8s for. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You f***ed up, Matt. You f***ed up, Matt. Just kidding. Meg, you're gonna have such a good gag reel. I can't
You're gonna
wait to
have.
see
You're gonna do
it.
great.
Like content for days.
For sure.
So RCF J8s with a mixer. That's
Yeah.
the caveat. Everse, love it. I have an iPad. I use a 360 Insta360 now.
Okay.
I used to use a GoPro, and it just like it was a headache. Editing GoPro footage is the fucking worst.
Yeah.
360 is so easy to use. I use that with my iPad as well as help manage the Everses there.
Yeah.
And then I also I just started using, I'm not very good at gear like that.
That's okay.
I was the same way with guitars too. I wasn't
Yeah, sure.
very good at like knowing, oh, this is the Martin S something something.
Yeah.
And then I use the G4 transmitters.
Okay.
I just upped my settings on there, and everything's so crystal clear.
That's
Plus,
great.
with the Everse, you can actually manage everything.
Oh yeah.
G4 wireless microphones with the extenders on the side of my booth, and then I've got I think it's just called like they're like the two G4 packs that I just bought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's sweet.
I think that's it.
Yeah. And what about lighting? So what are you rocking for lighting?
So I actually use their color key lights.
Okay.
But they're like the wireless Chinese lights, but they're color key. So they're black. They're so sexy. They are so, and I love it. With
So are you just doing like mainly uplighting or?
Yes.
Okay.
And then a little bit. I did talk to Color Key. Apparently they're gonna have something coming out soon with them because I love the juxtaposition of like a disco ball.
Oh sure.
Like going slowly.
Yeah.
And then my uplights moving quickly and strobing and blacking out and like all that stuff.
For
so
sure.
they said they're gonna have something soon. Hopefully that, like if I look at it, it doesn't get dented. You know?
And that's the hard part. Like again, doing how many weddings and stuff that we do, it gets really easy.
They're so sensitive though. Like you just flick up and they're dented and it looks like trash.
Yeah.
I'm like, hopefully no one notices this.
Yeah. Well, and luckily, usually in darker rooms, so that helps too. That's always a good thing. So is there a piece of equipment that you have that is just your absolute favorite? This is the thing I love. This is the thing that's kind of, for now, it's going to be kind of evergreen in my setup. Like, is it your Rev 7 or your
Oh yeah, I forgot I use a Rev 7. Yeah, so it's definitely my Rev 7. I love that controller. Obviously my computer too. I use a Mac.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Serato.
Yep.
So my controller, I love it. Moving platters just feel so good, and I think that is where I can shine the most.
Sure.
With programs and using stems and stuff like that.
Stems are great. Stems have kind of changed the game a little bit.
They have, and just as a former musician, I've been playing music for over 20 years.
Yeah.
So being a musician and front woman of my band, writing my own music and whatnot, being able to actually bring in that musicality live for people and do what I hear is great. Like,
well, and I think the best part about it is when somebody requests a song, you're just, and then man, I haven't heard that song in 20 years. So you put it on, you listen to it, you're just like, oh, I can kind of do this. Oh, okay, that's what BPM is.
Yes.
Okay, well, hey, I'll just take the vocals out of this, lead it in here, and then come in right here, and we'll just do that. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I also have a Rev 5. That's kind of more for club stuff because it's so light.
Yeah.
So I like the Rev 5
easier to
a
move.
lot.
Yeah. Just got that in a coffin or whatever.
Which one?
The Rev 5, just in a coffin.
Not even a hard case. I use a soft case.
Gotcha.
Yeah, soft case. I had a hard case for my Rev 7, but it was like 100 pounds. And
Yeah.
getting
They
it
get
in and
heavy.
out of my SUV.
Yeah, they get heavy real fast.
Too many of my assistants dropped it too. It was lots of dents.
For sure.
Poor Tanya, my Toyota Highlander.
Hi, Tanya.
Hi, Tanya.
So you have that favorite piece of equipment. Is there anything that you're looking for that you don't have? Like, hey, you know what? I'd really like to. You were talking about that disco ball light thing and stuff from Color Key. Is there anything else like, you know what? I really want to. Someday, I really want to own this. Like, is there
more punchy speakers?
Okay.
The problem,
do you have an idea of something that you're looking for?
Definitely column array. I like the column array. I think it's sexier. I think it makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I also use Chauvet, those stands that are
Flex stands?
Yes, the flex stands. I use those with like the plate.
Okay.
Also very heavy.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
And I think that those look better. So I'm very much into like a sleek look. I think tripods are a little bit outdated.
Oh, for sure.
So I think I'm looking for better speakers than the J8s, but nothing has come out yet that isn't too much of a lateral move, but that is also can fit in my car.
Yeah.
That's the issue, is I need like spatial stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna say like Evox 12s are kind of.
They're too tinny for me, but I bet if I tuned them, they'd be
I find most my RCS stuff I have to tune just a little bit more than I do other stuff.
Yes.
So
And if you're not tuning to every room, and you need to tune to every room.
Definitely do that for sure. And that's where like a mixer with an iPad, you can go out, stand here, listen.
That would be really cool if I could do that. Actually, is have the capabilities of the Everse 8. I love being able to walk around during ceremony and adjust my mids, adjust my highs to get more clarity. Had a wedding a couple weeks ago where the officiant had a very bass heavy voice.
Yeah.
So taking out
being
the bass
able to take some of that
and
out.
then bring up the mids and highs and create a crispness and well balanced towards his voice. And my microphones have never sounded better. And then having the tray on the top. I just got a cable from y'all. I think the
power cable.
The power cable, as well as being able to send from one transmit or from one Everse to the other with those smaller packs I was telling you about. Using the cord.
The EW100s or
yes,
whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're pretty game changing. I like those ones a lot. I own a pair of those too.
They're just so good, easy to have, very easy.
Yeah, very much so. And if you wanted some sort of mixer that can do that, we can get you one at LFXPro.com.
I know.
So
I know you can.
we get you all set up with whatever you need.
Yeah, as soon as there's an affordable, like well-sized speaker that I could control with my iPad.
Yeah.
That is like.
That's what you're looking for.
That is what I need.
Gotcha. And do you still want the height adjust and all that kind of stuff? Because there's other choices, and maybe
keep them the same.
Okay.
I don't even change the heights really.
Yeah. That's one thing that I always liked about because I have a pair of Jades that I use with my Danny Mac setup. Mm-hmm. I have Evol 50s that I use with my main Toad setup, and then I have some bigger ones depending on what I'm doing, all that sort of thing.
Coming in for a hot. Oh, of course. I love you, Luke.
Yeah. So it just all depends on what you're looking for, what you want to do as far as speakers and all that kind of stuff. So
I think that's my favorite part about NLFX is that I was actually she said my favorite part about NLFX is the honesty and the integrity. Like Ben Stone doesn't do anything half-assed, and neither does the team. So the best part about it is if I reach out, and I did reach out about getting like Everse. I was like, should I also get like a K8? And some companies would be like, yeah, you should. It's great to have that extra punch and sound, but I don't know if it was. I don't think it was you I was messaging. Might have been.
Could be. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody, so much for tuning in here to the Soundstage. I'm so sorry about the technical difficulties we had there in Atlantic City with the end of Tori's podcast. Technology is what it is. We lost like the last 7 minutes of the podcast or so. So we're here picking it up again, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. And Tori, we were just talking about some of the gear that you had gotten from NLFX and some experiences you had when you got your Everse speaker with the K8, and you were kind of talking about the thing that you liked about NLFX about that process. Do you happen to remember anything that we were talking about, or you want to keep going from there? We are about 2 weeks removed from that right now.
Yes,
so,
but I have ADHD, so like I can remember random stuff. So this works.
It does.
So yes, I do remember actually. I was buying Everse 8s because I was upgrading my ceremony system from, and I don't think I said this in the original part, but I was upgrading from using like a Bose system, and I love the Bose. Use it as a musician. It's beautiful. It's got great acoustics. I think it sounds better than a Maui. I think a Maui, you can really hear when tracks are like crazy compressed in a Maui.
Sure.
And unless you tune it every time, like a Bose, you can just kind of plug and play.
Sure.
And the Everse is very similar. Like the straight out of the box sound is so good. So I was looking to get one, and I was looking to get another one as like a satellite speaker because I'm just so annoyed with having to like pick one speaker up, take it all the way over there, and I'd rather just have it set up, ready to go. Plus like a 2 ceremony speaker or 2 speakers for ceremony for those bigger ones, like you don't have to like blast it. So I was looking to get those, and then I was chatting and I was like, should I just get like a little K8 instead, or like get K8 in addition to, or whatever it was? And I don't remember who it was, but they were just like, not really, because you don't need both. It's kind of like a lateral move. So the fact that some companies would be like, oh yeah, you should totally get that too, and then like give you reasons to get it, which I'm sure there are reasons to have multiple different types, but in that case, it was for it was more important about the utilization of what I was doing to apply the correct formula for the equipment versus like the correct formula for the money. So the K8, I want to earn a K12. I think it's K12. K12 is the small
K12's
one,
the
right?
bigger one. K8's the small one. K12's
K8.
the
Okay,
bigger
yeah,
one.
that's right, because it goes, smaller than bigger.
Yeah.
But yeah, I clearly don't know the numbers and letters. I'm not a
That's
gearhead
okay.
like that. I like having gear.
It's
As
all
you can
good.
see behind me, I have like a bunch of guitars and stuff, and there's an amp, and there's a
Is that a
suitcase
random
kick
drum
drum.
head?
It's a suitcase kick drum that I use for solo shows.
Nice. Very nice.
So I'm clearly a gearhead in my own right, but definitely not with numbers and letters. I'm like, that's a Fender, that's a Martin, that's a classical guitar of some sort. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks old.
Yeah, it is. But the point being that some other company would have just sold it to me without really caring more about the money than caring about kind of like me as a person and utilization. Because I think the K8 is more than the Everse, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
By like a couple hundred. So, I really respect the integrity of the company, and not to mention y'all preemptively send that power cable that comes like that to hook up your depending on what microphone you use. So just the fact that you're already thinking about the functionality of that was just amazing to me.
Yeah, and some people have listened to it before, they might get a little tired of me saying it, but it really is the philosophy of NLFX. It's something that Ben instilled when he started the company, and really make sure that we as employees continue that, to make sure that that's a message that comes out. I'm 10 times more worried about getting a customer than a sale.
Yeah.
I would rather sell you something for $15 than $500 that you don't need, because then why are you coming back to me? Because obviously I know that people are smart enough to know, like you, hey, you know what? I didn't really need this. Why did they talk me into buying that? I didn't need. And then you got this other piece of equipment you don't need. Maybe you were tight on the funds at the time, whatever it may be. So for us, it's more important about getting you the right thing than just getting you something. So, yeah.
That's and just every single time I see like NLFX at shows or anything like that, like I don't know if it got to the part where I bought the bag, but like I literally bought a bag because I was like, this is so much more functional than the one that I have. Did I need a new cord bag? No, but just the longevity of knowing that I have an NLFX cord bag that has already been thought out of all the issues of the bag that I currently have that's annoying about it.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that, just the innovation and the constant just Ben's scientific and brilliant mind of always trying to improve upon what's been done. It's very similar to Danny Max in that way, where it's like those two people are always trying to make things better, even if they think it's the best, taking feedback, listening to their clientele, and then just their own observations and always having a growth mindset as far as like, how can we make this better for people? How can we make this better for a better experience for our clientele? And of course, how can we make people's events like epic?
Yeah, for sure. And like with Danny, and I think the part that made Danny so good going in making his thing is he had that successful photo booth business.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what? I think I can make a better one. And that's kind of what it is with NLFX, like the cable bag. You know what? Because we have the production side of a thing. I'm a working DJ. We have other people that work in production that work there, which I think is also something that sets us apart a lot from a lot of other companies. Is they might use some of the stuff, but man, we basically everything that we have we use. So we can see the pitfalls, we see the downsides, we see all those, and it's like, you know what? I think we can do better. It might not be less expensive, but it's better.
I would rather pay more for customer service and for like basically talking to people like you and Kat and Ben than I would going the cheaper route and getting Guitar Center or Sweetwater. And like, I've definitely got that stuff in a pinch. And I gotta admit, having a little pouch of candy is kind of nice for a small little cord.
Yeah, it's not bad.
But the customization of NLFX and just I don't even know, man. I'm just such a big fan. I'm a huge fan. Anytime I need gear, that's the place that I go. And
we appreciate it. And we obviously understand we're not going to get every single sale. And we understand that a lot of people out there are very price sensitive. Hey, you know what? I can get this $30 less expensive here. I just need to do that. And we get that. we just always ask that, hey, can you give us a try? We'll try to do our best to match anything we can. So, we always try to do that. And again, we appreciate people like you who are very dedicated to us and come back year after year and all that kind of stuff. So, so you've had a lot of stuff going on since we last talked.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Although other people don't know. So how's everything going with the gigs and all that kind of stuff over the last couple of weeks since?
So
DJX?
I had that event in New Jersey over in Patterson, which I didn't realize that Patterson was like the armpit of the armpit of the armpit, because I feel like New Jersey is the I'm gonna get flack for this, but whatever. I feel like people from Jersey are like, yeah, you're right. I feel like New Jersey is the armpit of America, Atlantic City is the armpit of New Jersey, and then Patterson is like the armpit of that. So like there's lots of armpits going on, but I didn't realize how much people hated Patterson. Like I just did not know that, talking to people about it. But it went well. It's just the load in was kind of trash and whatnot. But because of my e-verses and because I did have them, going from room to room was very easy. And I had just gotten this this like G4 system. I'm like I said, I'm bad with the essentially transmitters. Like it's a so I was able to do this more complicated ceremony in this more industrial style space with 2 speakers, because I had just gotten those transmitters that work so well. And then having my iPad to be able to like, do the EQ on the e-verses as we're going through it. And being able to EQ one speaker a little bit differently because it's like the primary speaker. And then the other one is kind of, needs a little bit more needs a little more treble, or like, I kind of, So just having all of those tools available made that transition a lot easier. And then I use the Chauvet flex stands. So, so that it makes transferring even, it's a little heavy, but it does make it easier as well, because you just like, you just set the stand up and then you just put the speaker on top. You don't have to worry about legs or anybody tripping over anything. So
that is a great thing about the pole systems that everybody's going to now, whether it be the flex stands or the gravity stands. Polaris, I think, is the one that Pro X has. They're all really nice, and they make things very simple and clean, which is something that I'm a big fan of. Is very clean, minimal.
I think tripods are ugly. I really think tripods are ugly. Judge me, but I do. I think they're outdated and ugly.
Oh yeah, for sure they're outdated, and and again, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, but it's nice to be able to do a little something else if you can. So again, we appreciate you taking the time doing that. I know you've been crazy busy. Things have been going on. We appreciate you doing the little catch up here, getting back with us and everything to kind of finish this episode off.
Thanks for your patience about the busyness, man. It's been crazy.
No, hey, it's all good. We're all professionals. We all have a lot going on. So I appreciate it so much. Thank you. Do you want to, you did that at the last one, but you do it here. Cause obviously that didn't save. You want to plug any of your stuff, your Instagram or Facebook or anything like that?
It's at DJ Tori Vee, one word, on TikTok, on Instagram, I'm not really on Facebook it just posts to one place and populates.
Gotcha.
So that's where you can find me. Please also follow, if you can, Washburn Entertainment, which is like our company. And that's where, you can see more of Chris, you can see me, you can see Devin, Jonah, all the rest of our team. Our newest member, Steven, which I think you met him at.
Yeah, I met him at DJX. Yeah.
Yeah, he's super sweet. We love Steven.
Awesome.
I mean, we love our whole team, really. But
that's really good, and that's something I really like seeing too. Is teams that they travel together, but they seem more like family than coworkers. So,
yes.
And that's something I've always seen with you and Chris and everybody like that. When you guys see it shows, it's a family mentality, which is awesome. So
we roll deep.
rolling deep for sure.
Rolling deep. What I feel like there was something else I was gonna say. Oh yeah, and this year I'm speaking again at right here. I'm speaking again at Harvest Astound. Yeah,
perfect.
So I'm speaking again. I'm gonna talk about family dynamics and stuff like that. So it seems like it's far away, but it's really not. It's only
just December. Like 3.5 months or something.
Yeah, crazy.
So,
and then are you guys going to Wedding MBA too?
Yeah, we'll be at Wedding MBA. And then we'll be at Harvest also. So
that's perfect. Yeah,
we're excited.
Still emceeing that big show, that big party. So that's
awesome.
Gonna be crazy. Hopefully, I can crowd surf again this year. That would be awesome.
We all have to have goals in our life. So
nothing like a bunch of photographers and planners and florists and all these other wedding industry professionals. Touching your sweaty back and butt, lifting you in a crowd.
Yeah,
Never thought.
Hey,
Never
we
thought I
got
would
we got to get our rushes somehow because we're usually up in front of people making everybody have a party hype dance. So,
I know.
sometimes you got to do other stuff. But
Very true.
again, thank you so much, Tori. We appreciate it. I hope everything keeps going awesome for you. And hey, we'd love to have you back on again sometime if you're up for it. So,
Oh, I would love that. Absolutely.
fantastic.
Like whatever you guys need, let me know. I will happily do
Absolutely.
it. And you got the amount of stuff y'all do for the community, the amount of support that y'all give to us DJs, like even just outside of gear work and advice and just like the overall mentality of that NLFX has.
Yeah.
Anytime you need anything, you just let me know. I'm there. 100%.
Greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next week. All right. Take care.
Love you.